South Africa is left in shock and dismay this evening upon confirmation that 92 new arrest warrants have been issued, reportedly against some of the most senior and influential members of the African National Congress, ANC. The news has shaken the country's political system to its core, with the ruling party left trying to contain the fallout as furious citizens call for open accountability and transparency. Before diving into the complete details, viewers are encouraged to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications because this unfolding political storm has the potential to completely reshape South Africa's power structure and expose the hidden machinery of corruption that has haunted the nation for decades. Based on several investigative sources, the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, has prepared a secret list of 92 people allegedly implicated in current investigations involving corruption, fraud, and money laundering. The warrants, which were initially meant to be kept under seal until official arrests were made, were leaked to the media last night, setting off a nationwide political crisis that nobody anticipated. A high-ranking law enforcement source described the move as one of the biggest and most integrated anti-corruption crackdowns in South African history, remarking that no one at the top is above the law anymore. Those on the list include former cabinet ministers, provincial premiers, and high-ranking ANC leaders accused of being involved in rigged tenders, offshore money transfers, and massive looting of state funds, billions of rands allegedly siphoned off from the public purse intended for the common man. When news of the leak broke, pandemonium swept through the corridors of Luthuli House, the ANC headquarters. Witnesses reported scenes of sheer panic as top members made desperate calls to lawyers, allies, and relatives. The atmosphere within the party was complete panic, a source disclosed. Some of the leaders are shaking in their boots, thinking their names are on the list, and some already know they are. Reports indicate that an emergency session was held shortly after midnight to discuss what insiders are calling the biggest political crisis since the Jacob Zuma era, an era already legendary for state capture and systemic graft. While the NPA has not officially published the list, several journalists claim to have confirmed parts of it using independent sources. Some of the names reportedly include prominent ANC veterans, wealthy business tycoons with deep political connections, and provincial leaders accused of stealing millions through overpriced state contracts. One investigative reporter even hinted that individuals within President Cyril Ramaphosa's inner circle might be implicated, though these assertions remain unsubstantiated. Nevertheless, the mere suggestion has heightened national unease, implying that corruption may extend much deeper into the higher echelons of government than South Africans were led to believe. As the leak spread online, social media exploded. Hashtags like #92names, #OnOurLists, and #CleanUpGovernment trended across all major platforms, with the nation both outraged and vindicated. For most citizens, this is long-awaited justice knocking on the doors of power. On Facebook and Twitter, South Africans demanded that the entire list be released. One viral post read, "We've been robbed for years. Now we want to see every name on that list. No more secrets." Protest organizations quickly mobilized countrywide demonstrations, marching to the union buildings in Pretoria and to provincial government offices, demanding unconditional resignations and full disclosure from ANC leadership. Amid the escalating unrest, President Ramaphosa now faces a historic test of leadership. His office issued a brief statement urging citizens to remain patient and allow due process to take its course. Critics, however, allege that he is stalling to protect his supporters. Political commentators warn that the crisis could further divide the ANC, deepening already perilous rifts between opposing factions. If Ramaphosa moves firmly against his own supporters, he risks alienating his base, said political analyst Leo Matiba. But if he stays silent, he'll appear complicit, and that could mark the end of his presidency. Either way, the stakes have never been higher. The NPA maintains that arrests could be made within weeks as case files are finalized and warrants executed. Sources within the Hawks, South Africa's top anti-corruption unit, confirmed that specialized task forces have been deployed across several provinces to prevent key suspects from fleeing or destroying evidence. If these reports hold true, the country may soon witness a wave of high-profile arrests involving some of the most recognizable figures in national politics. Legal analysts caution, however, that bringing current or former ministers to court could trigger a constitutional crisis, testing South Africa's political and legal institutions like never before. Inside Luthuli House, damage control efforts are reportedly in overdrive. The ANC's spokesperson has denounced the leak as an orchestrated attempt by political rivals to destabilize the party ahead of the 2026 elections. Critics, however, argue that these excuses no longer resonate with the public. "You can't call it a conspiracy every time the truth comes out," a retired ANC veteran told reporters. Citizens want answers. Within the National Executive Committee, NEC, tensions are boiling, with some members pushing for total cooperation with investigators while others call for an internal probe to manage the narrative and contain reputational damage. While the party struggles to project unity, ordinary South Africans are left questioning whether their leaders possess integrity and what the future of their democracy truly looks like. Civil society organizations and anti-corruption groups are demanding total transparency, urging the NPA to release the full list to rebuild public trust in the justice system. For years, political elites have acted above the law, one activist declared during a televised interview. If the NPA wants to prove it stands for justice, now is the time. Many citizens agree, arguing that concealing the names would only deepen distrust in government and law enforcement institutions. International observers are monitoring developments closely. Several diplomatic sources have voiced concerns about potential effects on regional stability, given South Africa's role as a key political and economic power in Africa. Market analysts predict that financial markets may react sharply once formal arrests begin, due to uncertainty over the country's leadership. Yet, despite the turmoil, some analysts believe that if handled with transparency, this scandal could strengthen South Africa's democracy by proving that even the most powerful can be held accountable. At home, public sentiment is a volatile mix of anger, anticipation, and cautious hope. Grassroots organizations in Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban are holding candlelight vigils and public forums on corruption, a growing sign of civic engagement. For many, this moment represents not just a scandal but a reckoning for years of political betrayal and economic inequality. Some view it as a potential turning point, a chance for the nation to purge itself of deep-seated corruption and begin anew. Others fear it will devolve into yet another cycle of empty promises and political scandals. South Africa stands at a crossroads in its history. If these 92 arrest warrants lead to actual prosecutions and convictions, it could mark the most sweeping anti-corruption purge in the country's democratic era. But if the process becomes bogged down by political manipulation or bureaucratic delay, it might instead expose the full rot within the system and destroy what remains of public faith in governance. The coming weeks will not only determine the fate of the ANC but also test the integrity of South Africa's justice system, leadership, and democracy itself. Would you expect these arrests to lead to real accountability, or will this become yet another scandal that fades into silence? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update as this historic saga unfolds. Because one thing is certain, the walls are closing in, and for the first time in a very long time, the truth is no longer afraid to knock on the doors of power.